Today we're going to be building a simple site with a form, but there's something special about that form. We're going to be redacting the sensitive information that we might be collecting on that form using the new VGS Netlify add-on. VGS stands for Very Good Security. When you enable VGS with Netlify forms, you get a bunch of different security compliance things out of the box. So HIPAA compliance, PCI compliance, you name it. They have a huge list of all the different kind of specs that they comply with on their site. So if you're trying to collect credit card information, social security number information, any medical stuff, any personal finance stuff, there's many use cases that you would need to secure your data and keep that off of your servers for whatever your app might be. So if you are hacked, that data breach does not impact your users. The attacker really only gets redacted information that they can't do anything malicious with. So that's really the beauty of this add-on. Let's actually jump into building a really simple site and we'll secure its forms. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our secure site on our local machine. And we're gonna CD into that secure site folder. We're gonna make another folder called source. That's where our index file is gonna live. And if we CD into source, I'm just gonna touch an HTML file. This will be our actual site. Let's touch the HTML because why not? And I'm gonna go ahead and pop this open in Sublime Text and we'll take a look. So yeah, we have an empty HTML file. Let's actually fill that with our beautiful HTML. Fantastic. Our app is ready to go. Let's actually create this as a Netlify site. So to do that, I need to create a netlify.toml file in my project. And I'm going to give it build commands. So the command is going to equal echo hello. There's actually no build command because this is just HTML. And then the publish directory is going to be the source folder. So if you're building a React app or what have you, this would probably be different. But for this simple example, we're just publishing the source folder. So inside of my secure site now, what I need to do is actually create this site inside of my Netlify account. So I'm running the netlify init command from the CLI. If you don't have the CLI, you can install that globally. I'm going to go ahead and create a site. This is a manually deployed site. You could also go through the familiar flow you're used to with GitHub and just connect through there, through the Netlify UI. Same idea, but I'm just going to create this locally and we'll put this in Pizza Friday. Awesome. So if I go ahead and pop this open inside of Netlify, we can see, hey, the site hasn't been deployed yet. Let's fix that with the netlify deploy command. And we're going to put a -p to actually publish this to the live URL. If we refresh, we can see, hey, our site is now live and woot, there it is. Cool. So let's actually add our form to our app. We're ready to take, obviously, investor money at this point, but let's add a couple more features for the users. So back inside of our source folder, we're going to replace woot with our actual form. So when you add a form to your Netlify site and add the Netlify attribute to it, it will automatically collect that information and store it without you having to send that anywhere else. Let's go ahead and deploy this up and see what that looks like. Our site's now live and we have this amazing form. Let's fill it out, and you'll notice that it has a social security number in here in the form. You never ever want to do this. This is bad news. Again, this information is sensitive and you don't want to be liable for it, to be quite honest. So I'm going to submit this form and we'll go ahead and take a look what that did inside of our Netlify site. So I've submitted the form. We can see my form and then that hello I just sent through. So here we can see, hey, it's David Wells at netlify.com, and yeah, my social security number there. So this is bad. If anything bad happens, and someone hacks your Netlify account, or if someone hacks your email or what have you, you're vulnerable and your users are vulnerable as well. So we want to solve this. The way that we can solve this is by installing the VGS add-on. So the VGS add-on will actually sit in between your site or app and Netlify and redact all of the sensitive information of a given form field or multiple form fields. So we're actually going to set that up. There's 3 things that we need to do. We need to add a secure attribute to the forms. We need to add a secure field data attribute to any input field that you want to redact. And then we need to install the Netlify add-on for VGS via the command line. So let's actually go through that right now. So first things first, let's go back into our site code, and we're going to add the secure field. And in our case, we want to redact that social security number. It's very bad that we're storing that in the first place. So let's actually redact that. So we're going to add the secure field to that input, like so. So we have the secure on the form element, and we have the data secure field on the label. So let's go ahead and deploy this up to our live site. Again, with the Netlify deploy -p flag. Again, you could git commit this and Netlify will run its build. I'm just doing this quickly via the command line. So our site's now live. If we were to submit this through, that social security number would still be seen by Netlify because we haven't installed the add-on yet. So let's actually go ahead and do that third step, which is installing the VGS add-on. So inside of the terminal, there's a command, Netlify add-ons create, and we're going to pass it VGS, the name of our add-on. So this is going to call out to Netlify and say, hey, we want to install VGS for this given Netlify site. It comes back and says, okay, cool, we can install this. Go ahead and enter the required fields. In this case, it's a path of where my secure form lives on my site. I'm going to just go ahead and hit enter because we're on the root. And there we go. So we actually have our add-on created on our site. If we ran the Netlify add-ons list command via the CLI, we'll see that we have an instance of VGS installed on this site, which is awesome. Very cool. So when I installed that add-on, it told me one more thing. I skipped past that part, but I need to actually authenticate and set up my VGS account because it's storing the data and we need a token to get that back. So let's actually auth with our new VGS account. This will pop us open into their admin UI. And if you don't have an account, go ahead and create one. If you do have an account, go ahead and log into it. So if I log into this account, it will say, cool, so the site URL is Optimistic Nightingale. We've connected the site. The site has already been deployed. They've already found my form because of that secure attribute and the found that one secure input. The last step that we need to do is actually run the config command just to make sure that the VGS add-on knows exactly where our form is. And then we're actually going to submit this through. So I'm going to run this. It is updating the add-on. This is telling VGS the form is on this field, the form is on this page. So go ahead and redact it. And we're going to go look at our actual source code on Netlify and see what has changed. So if we run the Netlify open site command, or you could just open your site in your browser. This is a shortcut to do so. What we have is actually our form set up. So I'm going to add some CSS real quick to deploy this. So I'm just adding some CSS to my form fields. I'm going to redeploy very quickly. So Netlify deploy -p, and then I'm going to refresh that. And we'll look at the DOM and see what has changed. So our site's live again. Here we have, so we have our name field, our email field, that social security field, and the message. If we actually look at the way that the site is set up now, is this Social Security field is actually a secure iframe that's going through very good securities proxy. So that's actually what's doing the form redaction. You can style these fields however you want. This demo has very little styling, if any at all. And then the other thing that the add-on, when we installed this add-on on our site, did was inject the JavaScript to actually do that automatically for us. So the JavaScript that it's injecting is automatically reading which fields are secure and replacing those input fields with the fields that will redact the information. So let's go ahead and actually submit this through. So we'll say Tim at gmail.com. Sorry, Tim, if you're watching. Tim's fake social security number is 1111. Hey, I'm Tim. So let's go ahead and actually submit this through. We'll do Tim at Netlify. Why not? There's no Tim yet, but maybe one day there will be. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this through. And our form is submitted. Let's go look inside of our site forms UI to see the new submission. So inside of our submissions here, we have that original one from David with the social security number shown. Now, if I look at Tim's, his name came through, his email came through, but the social security number is, as you can see, redacted. So those fields are now not visible by people inside of your Netlify account or by anyone that might, hack you or what have you. So this is great. All we did was add a simple secure attribute and secure data attribute to the inputs and install the VGS add-on, and automatically our forms are PCI HIPAA compliant. So a lot of the headache, a lot of the hassle of going through all the compliance requirements and what have you kind of go away. And this is a big deal, especially if you're trying to do any type of medical app or trying to revamp some sort of government system or anything that's like historically very challenging, because you have to deal with so much of the compliance concerns that, to be quite honest, a lot of developers shy away from building such apps. So with the very good security add-on, I'm hoping that this empowers developers to build really apps that matter, that are not doggy dating apps, but are real world, have that real world impact. So I'm pretty stoked on the VGS add-on. They're an awesome company, and I can't wait to see what you build. So before we end this video, there's the other piece of this, which is like, how do I actually see the information? It's tokenized now, so we're compliant, but how do I actually get at that data if I do need to see it or I do need to use it? So we actually have a demo app releasing with this, which there'll be a link in the video. But basically, there's an endpoint that you can hit. You can hit the VGS proxy endpoint to actually de-tokenize that information. So in the example, we actually they made a much more robust example than my simple form app that's basically using very good security, and it's using a SaaS company called Checker to do background checks. And then they're also sending payment and credit card information through to Stripe. So in that repo, there's a couple of functions that are actually calling into the very good security endpoint to basically decrypt that data, that redacted data, and then submit that through to Stripe or to Checker, for example. So that's one way to actually decrypt and get at that data when you need it, when you actually do need to send the actual values to a given third party, let's say. The other way that you can do it, I don't have time to show it in this video, but you can actually log in to very good securities proxy on your local machine, and if you're looking at the Netlify admin UI, the values that are tokenized would be automatically de-tokenized. So if you did have, if you do still want to see your form data inside of Netlify, that is possible. You just need to log in through the secure proxy, and you can see all the redacted data as normal. So that is really the VGS add-on in a nutshell. We're building out a bunch of add-ons at Netlify. If you have a software company that's interested in becoming a Netlify add-on, feel free to reach out. I'm David at David Wells on Twitter, or send me an email, david.wells@netlify.com. We're building out a bunch of these integrations with some interesting partners. And yeah, we're looking to add this kind of awesome functionality to your Netlify sites. Thanks for watching.